A couple of weeks ago, I recorded a video about my astonishment at a verse of the Quran that I come across, which seemed to suggest the remarkable scientific accuracy of the Quran. And I'll just show you the video. We're not going to go through it this time because I've discovered another astonishing scientific fact in the Quran. So the video I did was called "No Way the Prophet Muhammad, upon whom be peace, knew this in the 7th century." It's about the Quran, chapter 40, verse 67. And the funny thing is actually in the same verse. And I've just spotted this. You may already know it, of course, but I've just come across it for the first time. So what does this verse say? Well, it says, "He is the one who created you from dust, then from a sperm drop, then developed you into a clinging clot." And as I said in the last video, the translators put a footnote at the bottom saying alaka, meaning the embryo resembles a leech. And this is a remarkable observation. How could a mere man, possibly know about this microscopic phenomena in the human body? So clearly, this is a scientific marvel, really, in the Quran. But in the same passage, and I didn't spot it the first time round, I kind of just moved through it and didn't see it. It says, "He is the one who created you from dust." Now, when I first read this, I thought, well, dust is just a metaphor for, our human nature. We're made out of material things. We're not angels. We're just base, really, very, very mundane creatures in our physical composition. That's not actually what it necessarily means. The claim is that he is the one who created you from dust. How can we be made from dust, literally, scientifically? I'm not made of dust, neither are you. We're made of flesh and blood, water, things like that. So I just took it metaphorically. But then I thought, well, the Quran is very accurate when it comes to the alaka, this leech-like thing. What does it say about dust? Is there any scientific basis for it? So I went back to ChatGPT and I discovered this explanation. By the way, I have checked this with independent scientific sources, and I'll come to this in a minute. So I asked ChatGPT about this passage about human beings made of dust, and it said, excellent question, the Quran's mention of dust as the origin of human life, such as in Quran 40:67, "He created you from dust," has prompted both spiritual and scientific interpretations. Let's break it down. Is dust scientific? Surprisingly, yes, on some levels. Modern science confirms that the chemical elements making up the human body originate in the earth and stars. Humans are composed of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, plus trace elements like calcium, iron, zinc, etc. These elements are found in soil, dust, and the wider cosmos. In fact, astronomers often say we are made of stardust. So the Quranic statement that humans were created from dust can be interpreted scientifically as an allusion to our elemental origins. So then it contrasts the classical and scientific readings. What's interesting here is that the classical interpretation of this passage is the one that I got kind of spontaneously adopted without even realizing it was the classical interpretation, where dust equals a metaphor for human lowliness, mortality, and creation ex nihilo out of base material. That's kind of what I assumed it meant. But then it says, modern reflection, dust equals biochemical fact, since the earth contains all the raw elements of the human body. Thus, it's not pseudoscientific, it's poetic and scientifically coherent. So that we are created from dust is a biochemical fact. Isn't this extraordinary? And what I also realized, as I'm sure you have as well, is the incredible way the Quran speaks at two different levels. So for the most of the last 1,400 years, I would think, people didn't realize, of course, that we were made of stardust, that our biochemistry is made up of dust particles from the cosmos. They didn't understand about these things at all, but they would have understood the truth of the point that we are made of dust in the sense that we come from material substance, and we are mortal and quite lowly in our physical constituency. And they would have got that point, and that's what I understood. But then there's another layer, another level of discourse that we have discovered very recently in astronomy, of course, and that is our celestial origins as star dust. And that still is true, what the Quran is saying. So it's true on one level, and it's true on the scientific level as well at the same time. So isn't it extraordinary that the Quran can speak in these different registers to different people at different times? It doesn't become obsolete. It remains true scientifically, and it remains true to a non-scientific audience, say, of the past or even of today, of course. And I thought, wow, that is absolutely remarkable. By the way, I'm reading from this Quran, the clear Quran, which is, as I mentioned before, we're trying to get through the Quran in 1 year, which means I read about 1 page a day, basically, and I should be through it in a couple of months, actually. So it's been an extraordinary experience, and I've learned so much. Even though I've read the Quran through before, it seems a very new book now. Actually, every time I encounter the Quran, it speaks in a different way. So what about the science? So I've checked with ChatGPT. I know some of you are skeptical, and rightly so. It's not always accurate, sometimes makes mistakes. So let's look at what the independent scientific community say about this, because there are things we can share. So I'm going first to the Natural History Museum, which is a very venerable institution here in London. And it addresses this question. Are we made of stardust? So there's an amazing photograph there. And it says, the Veil Nebula is 110 light years across. It's the remnants of a massive star supernova that exploded about 8,000 years ago. This small section of the nebula was captured by the Hubble Space Telescope. The colors correspond to different gases. Oxygen is blue, hydrogen is red, sulfur is green. And this is a photo from NASA, as we can see. So are we made of stardust? Stars that go supernova, meaning that they explode powerfully, are responsible for creating many of the elements of the periodic table, including those that make up the human body. Our planetary scientist, Dr. Ashley King, explains how, because of this spectacular phenomenon, we might actually be made of dust, of star dust. Most of the elements that make up the human body were formed in stars. So are we made of stardust? Yes, of course we are. And there's a very long article here about generation of stars, and we're not going to go into to that. It's all above my pay grade. But let's look at just one other scientific source, which I found to be very interesting. This one is from the American Museum of Natural History, which boldly proclaims, we are stardust. And there's a picture there of an exhibit, wherever the American Museum is. And it says, every atom of oxygen in our lungs, of carbon in our muscles, of calcium in our bones, of iron in our blood, was created inside a star before Earth was born. Hydrogen and helium, the lightest elements, were produced in the Big Bang. Almost all of the other heavier elements were produced inside stars. And then it goes on there. So the short answer is yes, we are stardust, and that is proven clearly by the science. So again, I am astonished. I haven't even moved from this one verse, and I'm now making 2 videos. One is that the marvel of the Quran getting the science exactly right when it comes to the embryo resembling a leech, something so microscopic that would not have been able to detect by the human eye. And secondly, he is the one who created you from dust. Literally, scientifically, and metaphorically true. We are made of stardust. And again, the Quran could easily have got this wrong if it was a human opinion, if it was speculation, but no, it gets it precisely right. This is very impressive, I must say. And I have stumbled across this by accident. And these have been mentioned before. I'm not claiming at all to discover anything that's not been known, but I myself wasn't aware of it. And it's just nice to have it corroborated by independent scientists and ChatGPT. And it helps to increase our iman, our belief in the Quran as the actual speech of Allah himself. So there we go. Until next time.